Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Better Happy YouTube channel. I'm super excited to be launching the channel today, and what I'd love to do is take this first opportunity to explain to you a little bit about how the channel can help you and bring value to your life, introduce myself, and then I really want to focus on giving you two tips, two components that you can think about and you can work into your life that form the foundation of a program that we teach in one of our programs, and that help me completely transform my life when I first started to implement them after being taught them by my own mentor in my mid-20s. So first of all, Better Happy. What are we here to do? How can we provide you with value? Well, as the name suggests, we want to help you live a healthier, happier life. We've got two channels. This channel is focused on helping you, the individual, and a second channel is focused more on schools, families, and youth. So if you think that's relevant, then go and check that one out. We want to provide you with useful content that helps you understand health and happiness more and how to implement it into your life. And we're specifically going to help people or have an appeal to people that are very busy, very driven, very passionate, and find that that passion and that drive often comes at the expense of personal health and happiness. And what I want to show you is that that doesn't need to be the case. One doesn't need to come at the expense of the other. And actually it's the opposite, that if you learn how the basics of health and happiness and how to implement them into your life, you will achieve far more than you've ever achieved before in the things that you're passionate about, instead of letting that come at the expense of the other. And the reason that we've got such an appeal to that type of person is because I've done that myself. I've burnt myself out through my own passions, learnt my lessons from that, and learnt how to capitalize from both instead of struggling and letting one come at the expense of the other. So my name's Mike, and I started to recognize that I didn't know a lot about happiness in my mid-20s. I joined the military because I believe that having a career and having money and having freedom and respect and status is what was key to being happy. Now obviously these things contribute, but ultimately they are not that important for your happiness. We do need money, we do need finances, of course we do, but we'll come into this at a later point. That's not the foundation of health and of happiness. So I had this career and I started to get really unhappy. I felt lost in my life. I knew I didn't want to be there, but I didn't know what to do next. So I felt stuck and I stayed there for way too long, to a point where I became depressed, and I tried to make up for that by self-medicating, by buying stuff, by drinking too much, and just generally trying to not get to the root of the problem because I felt stuck. And I think this is super common in society as it is today. So from there, I decided to go on a journey. At the point of desperation, I left the military and I said, I need to learn more about happiness and how to structure my life in a way that supports me and lets me be who I want to be. And that was the start of the Better Happy program. And then from there, I learned about happiness. I met my mentor and I started my first business, which is where I decided to completely throw myself into it and help other people, driven by passion. And again, let myself burn out. So that's another lesson that I've learned as well. So I've learned the kind of lessons of feeling stuck and not knowing what to do with your life and how to make changes. And I've also learned the lesson of being extremely passionate and driven by something and feeling that there's not enough time in the day to look after yourself and letting your own health come at the expense of that. So it's those combination of those lessons that helps me structure the content that we provide to you to make sure that you don't fall into those categories and make sure that you don't feel stuck in those places. So let's start off with, on this video, I just want to start off with the problem that we face nationally and globally, and we face a happiness and health problem. Why do we face such a problem? Well, we live in a completely unique time. The time in that we live in now is like no other time before in human history, and the changes that we're going through are more significant than any other significant change we've ever had. So historically we've had we've had the Industrial Revolution, we've had agricultural revolution, which took us from being hunter-gatherers to settled peoples. Well, the changes we're going through now mean that we have more choice than ever before, and freedom and opportunity than ever before in human history. We've never seen it before. And this is great because historically we were born into a set of circumstances and we lived our lives within those circumstances, and the choices that we could make were very limited, which meant that a lot of the time we actually lived quite healthy and happy lives, but we were very limited in that opportunity. Well, now with the internet and technology and globalization, it's like that. So it used to be like this and now it's like that, which all of us know. And that's great because it's exciting. We can do whatever we want with our lives. We've got so much opportunity to do whatever we choose, which is great. But we've also got all of these extra choices to make, which isn't so great and can be really tiring. And there's also this opportunity to make a lot of bad choices. And in fact, as any of us know, we're actively encouraged to make bad choices because it makes money. We've got a lot of bad food around. We've got a lot of bad activities around that could not contribute to our health and our happiness, but they make a lot of money. So we live in this unique time. We've got more opportunity than ever before. We can really thrive in our lives more than ever in human history, but we could also struggle more than ever before. This is the first time ever in human history that we can legitimately get through our life without moving. Okay, so that not being fit didn't used to be an option throughout the whole of human history, but now it is. So we're facing unique challenges, and that's what we need to address through health and happiness education. We need to address these problems and provide the most simple solutions that help us be healthy and happy without making it complicated. So back to my personal experience then. I knew very little about happiness. How do I structure my life? What do I do? What career do I go into? I don't even know what I want to do, and I'm 25 years old. And I went searching, and my massive shift happened when I met my first mentor, and he taught me one lesson, which I'm going to translate into our 2 points now, that sounds blatantly obvious, but he taught me that the meaning of life is to be happy. And I'll say that again, the meaning of life is to be happy. And that sounds blatantly obvious. All humans, we all know that we want to be happy. We want our families to be happy. We want our kids to be happy. And of course, we want us to be happy. So that's blatantly obvious. But when we think about it, if that's what every single human on this planet wants more than anything, why is there so little education around it? Why is there so little structure about it? Why are we not talking about it in school on a weekly basis to our kids? And why do we struggle with it? Because there is no education around it. It's crazy. And not only did he teach me that the meaning of life is to be happy, he taught me the science around happiness, the philosophy around happiness, mental health, physical health, mindset, confidence, the way to go about your life. All of these components that I'd never talked about or even been aware of before. And they, like I said, that helped me make this complete shift in my life. And as soon as I learned this, I started to see the world in a different way. And I still made mistakes and still do make mistakes. But I started to see the world in a different way. And I started to see how many people would benefit from learning what I learned, especially back in Western civilization. Now, how do we translate that into our life? So what I want to do today is provide you with two tips that can translate that into an actionable process in your life. So instead of just thinking, right, the meaning of life is to be happy, there's two components that we translate this into. And the first is the happiness bias mindset. And that is what I've just said, but in a different way of thinking about it, that's a little bit more sciencey, that you need to have a happiness bias mindset. Your happiness, your own personal happiness, needs to be at the top of your priority list. Okay, and you might have a little bit of an internal rejection when I say this now, but it needs to be above everything else. Okay, so your job, your business, your kids, your wife, your own personal happiness needs to be above all of those. Okay, remember the meaning of life is to be happy. Right, now I'm going to talk about sensibly selfish, the concept of being sensibly selfish. And then what I'm going to do in a moment is show you how you can apply this to different areas in your life and how it can give you intense clarity, insane clarity, and help you actually make better decisions. Okay, so we've got the happiness bias mindset. Now we've got the concept of being sensibly selfish. I've got a business. Let's say I've got a business and I'm really passionate about my business and it provides for my family and it gives jobs to people. So that is very easy to put that above me. All right, so I decide that I'm going to put all my time and effort into that, and I'm just going to let me I'll look after me when things are sorted, because there's so many people that it relies on, that are reliant on it, and there's so many people that it helps. Okay, but what happens is, obviously, I start to burn out, I start to get sick, I start to lose my mental clarity because I'm not very fit and very healthy. I start to lose direction with the business because it's not helping me live the life that I want to live. And I don't live as long, which is probably going to happen. If you don't look after your health and your happiness, you're not going to live as long. So I can't be there as long to make it grow or actually enjoy the rewards of it. Seems obvious, but we don't do it. Again, let's think about it with kids, okay? I don't want to be preachy, I don't have children, but I know a lot of people that do and work with a lot of people that do. And I get the concept that if you have a child, you love that child more than anything in the world, and you're more than willing to put yourself above that child at all times. But again, exactly the same as the business. If I neglect my own health and my own happiness for my child, I'm going to start to become tired. I'm going to start to get fed up. I'm not going to have mental clarity. So I'm not going to be as nice to be around with the kids. I'm not going to enjoy my time with the kids as much. And I'm not going to be as a positive role model to them as I should be. Okay, if your parent is overweight, if a child's parent is overweight, for example, and I'm going more into health and happiness now, but if a child's parent is overweight, that child is 60% more likely to be overweight when they're older. Okay, so that's just a very small example, but of how directly the way we are affects our kids. And if we're not happy, our kids are going to pick onto that. So we need to be sensibly selfish, and we need to have a happiness bias mindset. And we're going to cover this in a lot more detail and give you a lot more specific tips in future videos. Now, what I'd like to do now, that's quite big picture. I'd like to bring that down and just show you how you can use that to give yourself clarity and make better decisions in smaller components of your life. And I'm going to use the example of fitness. So I'm going back into health again now. So I used to own a gym, and our gym was really successful and really helped people time and time again completely transform their lives. And the reason for that is because we applied the happiness bias mindset to the training that these people were doing, because that's what they wanted. So when people came in and decided that they wanted to train, and try and apply this to yourself, they decide they want to get fit, and it's something they've constantly struggled with. Okay, never been able to make it stick. How many of us have been there? I have. Okay, and I know that a lot of business owners have, and I know that a lot of parents have. So we decide we want to get fit because, why do we want to get fit? Because we want to lose weight, we want to feel more confident, we want to have more energy, we want to be more independent, we want to be a confident parent, we want to be able to move our kids around, whatever it might be. Okay, but most of those reasons you're not deciding you want to get fit because you want to get fit. You're deciding you want to get fit because you want to be happier. All those reasons feed into happiness. Okay, but what happens for most people when they go into training is they decide they want to get fit, and instead of applying a happiness bias approach to that, they apply a fitness and performance approach to that. And it's completely out of line with your goals. And if you're pursuing something that's not in line with your goals, you're going to get fed up with it. Okay, so if we go into training and we go to a trainer and you say, I want to get fit, and they're like, great, okay, it's this much a session, and we start training and we start doing loads of bodybuilding. Okay, that's going to give us some benefits because muscle growth is a part of training, but it's not in line with our goals. Are we doing any fitness work? Are we doing any work to lose weight? Although weight training will help with weight loss, are we working on our cardiorespiratory system? Yeah, it's a completely different approach. And we look to the internet and we see people that are bodybuilders or that are elite athletes, and we decide that's what we need to pursue. But we don't need to pursue that because we want to be happy. We want to be healthier. We don't want to be a performance athlete. We don't want to be a bodybuilder. We've just seen that and decided that's what we need to do. Okay, but when we apply a happiness bias mindset, we can approach it in a different way. And that's what we did at our gym. We started to say, okay, well, what do these people want? They want to move better. They want to get rid of their pain. They want to lose weight. They want to have more energy. So we structured the training in a way that did that, and we made it enjoyable. And you can do this with every component of your health and your happiness and your life. You can do it with your business. You can do it with your family. Okay, is my business working towards making me happier? If it's not, it's only a matter of time until I'm going to get fed up and burnt out and it's going to stop working. Is the way I'm approaching my nutrition making me happier? The reason so many of us struggle to make certain things stick within our lives is because we don't truly understand our goals, which are 9 times out of 10 happiness biased. Okay, so again, I'm using the fitness example, but if you go into fitness and you start doing sport specific training because a trainer, or performance specific training, you're going to get fed up with that if your goals are happiness. So we can apply this to all areas of our life. So what I want you to do from this video is try and think about what you can add to your life that is maybe a little bit sensibly selfish, but is going to provide you with more happiness. And I also want you to think about, is there anything in your life that is not contributing towards your happiness and can be reduced, okay, is not necessary? Why are you doing it? So have a think about something you could add and something you could take away. So if you've got anything specific that you'd like to ask, or that you found useful on this, or that you think would be useful next time, please stick that in the comments below and click subscribe so that we can grow and we can develop an ongoing relationship. And every week we're going to release another video where we talk about different components and give you useful tips to help you make instant changes in your life. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to seeing you again.